Hi, it's Wray from Pro Shaper Workshop in Charlton, Massachusetts, and we're doing a little bit of basic English wheeling. We did the first edition of it, just showing something about the frame, the details about the frame, and the hardware that's on it, and some of the simple rules about using the right anvil, and a lot of misconceptions about the anvil is chosen by the curve that you're trying to reproduce, but that's not true at all. If you watch those other ones, you watch that. So we have this Alfa Duetto Fender. It's a new old stock Fender, and we made this one in the first video. And in the second video, I says, well, this would be a great example of showing this curve here, which has got about 1.5 inches of rock to it. And it's a medium curve or so, compound, very strong compound. And we're going to be doing that with a pretty low crown anvil. So we made a flexible shape pattern off of it. In the first or the second edition, we wheeled it up to this amount, and I think it was only like a half an hour or so. We got this much shape. The back end of it is almost there. As you can see, there's no bounce. It's nice and tight. Still needs a little. In the front, we got about 1/2 inch or so, and I've just marked the perimeter mark all the way around on the flexible shape pattern and added this little blue line, which is where they're going to be the trim line. So I'm going to trim this, and the goal on this video is to develop this a little further, but oftentimes the audience doesn't want to watch me wheeling for 10 minutes to pump this up here. So I'm just going to tell you I'm going to pump it up, which means I'll simulate it. I'm going to go like this a whole bunch of times, and it's going to pump up. So, but the interesting thing, and there were some comments about it, was how the edge was a little loose. And I've shown that before. We have a little bit of loose edge over here, not too bad. But on this side here, we have the reverse curve. So we got to throw that reverse curve. So we'll try to tighten up the edge a little bit. We'll fill this out, and we'll show you how to do that reverse curve, and we'll get this pattern fitting really nice. So when we get it fitting really nice, then we'll be able to set the arrangement. So those will be the things that will show you. They'll be the pertinent information. First off, I'm going to trim this, and we use the cordless shears. I think you've seen me use the cordless shears. Now the trick with these is you want to cut in a counterclockwise direction. The reason for that is the waste piece falls off like this. In order for these to work efficiently, you have to have a certain angle of separation. If it's too tight, it binds. If it's too wide open, it'll bind. So it's like a happy medium between there. So I'm going to cut this on the blue line, maybe sand the edge a little bit, and then I'm going to pump this up off camera. I'm going to do the cutting and the pumping up off camera, which means I'm just going to go through. What I will do is, because my anvil is low crown, I'm going to take, and this end is stable, I'm going to take this out of arrangement, meaning I go like this. And when I go like this, I'm going to wheel this in this arrangement here. So now you can see that's a real low crown arrangement, and that low crown anvil will be user friendly for that arrangement, where you won't get any bites on the bottom wheel. And that's, you're always going to be watching for the bite on the top wheel or the lower anvils. So we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll be all trimmed up, and hopefully we'll get this thing pumped up, and then we'll address the loose edge and then the reverse curve. I wanted to show you just a little bit of the wheeling. I've only wheeled for like a couple minutes here, actually. I'm concentrated mostly in this area. And this was about 1/2 inch down in a matter of minutes. It's really close. Here I still got to do more in the front here. So this is the arrangement we're putting in this curl arrangement. Got pretty tight. Go in at the 45. And now we'll wheel this nose section here. This is one of the tricks of wheeling too, is that it's not really intuitive to think that you'd be wheeling the panel in this arrangement. But this is the most efficient way to do it. Now, someone suggested in the comments, well, why don't I wheel it this way across? Well, that's not efficient. I'm going to wheel that way when I clean up later on, but right now I'm putting the gross shape in. I want to get the shape in as quick as I can. The area change, the area value. And I use the flexible shape pattern to give me that area value reading. Had a nice little visit on, I believe it was Saturday, about noontime or so. It seems that everybody comes at noontime. Deliveries come at noontime. Everything happens. Phone calls, purchases, noontime. I'm trying to eat my lunch, but it was worth it. Had two nice people from Holland came over. They're visiting in the U.S., primarily in New England here. And they had been down to Cape Cod in Massachusetts, and the names were Hank and Betsy, and they were from, I think they said northern Holland, near the German border, and very interesting. It was a husband and wife business team, and Hank had been doing it for over 20 years, making Hank, it's H-E-N-K. I guess that's the Dutch spelling for Henry, and his wife Betsy, and they were really nice people. And Hank and Betsy, they work together. Betsy does the books and everything, and they've got industrial customers. And what they do was they make compound curve molds for plastic molding, and it was really interesting. It was something I had no knowledge of whatsoever. And he uses 2mm steel. And he has an old echoed former, which is probably about $150,000 machine today. And he had a bunch of die sets. And using that, and now he's made a nice English wheel. He watches my videos. That's why they came here to visit. They just wanted to say thank you and all the videos I have. And he makes these big compound curve molds, like a left side and a right side. And then he develops the joining mechanism, which are like screws and toggles or whatever to clamp them together. And in use, after he gets the project finished, they go to these industrial concerns that have these big open furnaces, I guess. And a big arm or a machine grabs it with an arm and takes this mold and sticks it into the furnace. But before that, they put these balls of plastics in, and depending on how much thickness they want on the walls, how much plastic they put in, and they stick it in this oven and they turn it around. This was totally new to me. I had no idea they make plastic moldings that way. And it goes up to like 550 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe he said. And the process, I don't know how long it actually takes, whether it cycles in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's a question I didn't ask. And then they take it out and they take it apart, and there's the beautiful plastic molded piece in there. So that was fun having Betsy and Hank visit, and I'll always remember their visit. Thanks for coming. Well, we're back to this. We got a little bit here, and I'm just going to wheel it. You can see I got about 1/4 of an inch. I had a 1/2 inch or so, and I'm down to about 1/4 of an inch. Now, this is the wonderful thing about a flexible shape pattern, is it doesn't matter which way you have it arranged. It'll read what you need to do. So if you have a buck is not going to tell you this. The buck only works when you get the part almost fully done, and then you put it on the buck and it'll tell you these little subtle spots where you have to work. And if you have a wood station buck, which I hate, it's almost impossible to find where you need to do the work unless you somehow get under there with a flashlight or a feeler gauge or something, cut holes in the buck, wire form, you can look underneath, boom, you can see it. You put a feeler gauge in there, you can see it. It's really easy. Flexible shape pattern, it's just really, really super simple. All you gotta do is fill it out. Just don't go overboard. If you go overboard, then you gotta correct. All right, so that's enough. We're gonna pump this up off camera and we'll come back. All right, now I got this down really good. I mean, that was a 1/2 inch. It's right there tight. In fact, this is looser now, so I gotta concentrate a little bit on this back end. So there we are. Okay, you see this? This is what we were talking about before, that loose edge over here. This edge has got a reverse curve. That's gonna have a loose edge, but this one, we got to deal with that. All right, let me see. I'll get this homed again. And we got a little bit more right in here. So maybe we'll do a little bit of this still. This is all good here. One more little batch off camera right here. Then we'll address this loose edge. Then we'll do the reverse curve. And well, no, actually we got to tighten this up first. So we'll finish this up over here. Oh, we had about 4 segments of wheeling off camera, and they've only been like 3 to 4 minutes a piece or so. And we got this filled out really nice. The back, I pumped the back up a little bit. We still have this looseness over here, and I'll show you how to fix that right now. So you see that looseness right there. What that means is this edge has to be tightened up a little bit, and the way to do that, to get that to be tight, it's probably a little bit overdeveloped right here. So I'm going to wheel that edge a little bit and we'll see if we'll tighten that up a little. Remember that every time you put the flexible shape pattern on, you're going to have a little residual dust, the plaster dust, and you want to make sure that you get that all off, get it off your gloves and everything, because that'll impregnate right into the surface of the metal. And we don't want that to happen. So we're going to try wheeling this edge. Oftentimes, the edge being loose like that is, we do the 45s, but in this case here, I think I'm a little bit overdeveloped right here, so I got to make the correction just by wheeling here. So I'll wheel it for a minute or so and see if that makes that better. What we're doing is we're bringing the edge up to meet the flexible shape pattern. So right in the center of the wheel, we're stretching it, and see what happens initially. When we stretch that edge, we get a wave formation. And then we move inboard a little bit, and that wave formation will go right away. There, I got most of it out. Let's see if that made it better. Oh, look at that. Laying down a lot better. Still a little bit now. Some of that's cowlick. That's not bad at all. All right, over here I'm a little loose. I maybe didn't have to stretch that edge over there, so I had to pump this up a little bit right in here. So I'll do that off camera. I'll tune that just a little bit more. And then we'll address this reverse curve over here. All right, so I've been wheeling, and I've lowered the pressure considerably, and it's out of arrangement here because I want to keep the curve. If I keep it in arrangement, the curve is really strong like this. Take it out of arrangement, the curve is mild. But you can see what happens here. Now imagine if I had a kick adjuster there, what would happen? Number one, how would I get to even work it? Because you have this straight pipe coming up and it would be hitting it like crazy over there. So that's why I favor top adjusters. So what I'm doing now is just a real light once over on the panel to bring my surface quality up, get all the little stop marks out. When you're on high pressure and you stop, you leave a little dimple. So I'm blending all these little dimples in, and the surface quality is coming up. I'm not going to change the area value, how much I'm stretching it so much when I have this light pressure on here. It's just addressing just the surface quality, taking all those little dimples out. So we'll check the fit again. Panel's looking a lot nicer. It's got a nice shine to it. The top wheel is printed its finish, its polish right onto the panel. We still got a few stop marks here we'll have to get out. We home it in on our marks here. We're nice and tight here. Maybe a little bit too tight right here. We're a little loose again. I might have to wheel that edge just a little bit. This is all nice and tight. So the area value is really good. Maybe a little loose right here. But overall it's pretty nice. And all I have to do is still fix this little spot here. We'll wheel that edge just from here to here, a little bit over here inboard, and continue with the surface quality. We'll do that off camera. All right, here I am getting a little smoothness on the end of the panel. Another argument against the lower adjuster. I couldn't do that. See, that'd be hitting. Now I'm hitting the leg a little bit. I'm messing up my paint job, but I can repaint it. Actually, it's a good idea to put a little rubber to protect all the spots. That EPDM with the self-adhesive would actually work really good. I should probably start putting that into action. So the elapsed time, total time making this panel between video 1 and 2, well actually it was episode 2 and 3, but there's been 2 editions of this so far. I don't think we have more than an hour and a half of actual time creating this panel. Of course it doesn't look anything like an Alfa Fender, but that's going to be the little grand finale we have here. All right, that's a little better. That's better. This is all nice and tight. Our surface quality is really getting good. We still got a little bit more to go. But we're running late again. We're always running late. We do these videos just about before we're supposed to go home. So, just for the grand finale, for the new subscribers that haven't seen this before, and it's unorthodox from a lot of people make the panel looking like what it's supposed to be all the time. And you can do that way, but you really penalize yourself because you don't get the all the advantages of working a panel out of arrangement. So now I'm going to use the belly brake that's right here, and we're just going to pop this into arrangement, and we'll just call it a day after we get this into arrangement. Now these are my hands are my fulcrum, and this is, whoop, I got a mosquito biting me. Oh, I got him too. Ha. No, that was a horsefly. A horsefly was trying to interrupt my video. He stung me right on the side. We thought it was a fly before. At my house by the mailbox is a nest of horseflies. They've been there for like 20 years. Every time you go out to the mail, they swarm on you. It's unreal. There's just generations of horseflies waiting to bite you. Now we use the gauges to actually set everything, but we're just going to do this in a quick manner here. As you can see, now it's starting to look what it's supposed to look like. So there's a lot of roundness in this section here. This is more flat here. And then let me look at the fender again. Really round up by the headlight. So let's pop that headlight roundness in. So the arrangement comes secondary. You have to set the area value first. That's the shrinking and the stretching. And then the arrangement value is set after you get the area value set. We got the area value really close, and we can take it in and out of arrangement as many times as we want. And surface quality is in there too. We got the surface quality a lot better, but all of it has to be massaged a little bit to get it a little bit better. And of course we'll be using the gauges. And let me take a look at that fender. Yeah, now that fender reverses over here, but it won't come up because this needs to be stretched. So that wants to come up like this, but we have to stretch that edge in order for that to happen. But overall, we've got the general shape now in there. We're going to take it out again, but I just wanted to show the viewers here how this process works. Some of the veterans of the channel have probably seen me do this 12 times already, but every time it's pretty amazing. So there you have what's starting to look like a pretty nice fender. We put this little detail of the reverse on here, it'll be really good. And then you put the added details of the flange for the headlight mounting, the flange on the back. We get our surface quality a little bit better. There's still a few stop marks here we got to chase after. But there you have it. There's a good section of the top of the 1966 Alfa Duetto Spider fender. So we did a preliminary setting of the arrangement, and as you can see now it doesn't look like what it did before. It's starting to look like that Alfa fender, and a lot of people right away will go for that look of what it's supposed to be at the end, but that's not a really good way to do it because it's not efficient. If you've got it out of arrangement, you can do these long runs. Like someone made a comment, why don't you go this way? Well, you can go this way, but it's not as efficient. So it would be like painting sashes on a window, and when you paint a sash on a window, you're going to be going like this the long way instead of going like this. You wouldn't want to be going with the paintbrush on that sash going like that. So the arrangement is not perfect yet. That's going to be set with the gauges, and the area value is probably at like 95% or so. Usually 95% will get you in the ball game. But if you're a perfectionist, you try to get it as close as possible to perfect. And it might take another half hour or so of nitpicking all these little stop marks, and we'll take it out of arrangement. And just for fun and games, we'll pop the arrangement back the way it was. And you can see how dramatically different it is. So thanks for all the support we've been getting with the channel. Remember to please give us the likes, please subscribe, tell all your friends, give us the comments, hit that little notification bell, and when you do that, you get a notification that there's a new video from Pro Shaper Workshop, and you don't want to miss that. So we're gonna be hitting 51,000 subscribers. I'm not where Russell Brand is. He's at 5.7 million. So when I get to 5.7 million, I'm going to start raising my hands and saying thank you very much and everything, but there's a long way to get there. So now we'll pop this out of arrangement. It easily comes out. And then we're back to the way we were, which doesn't look anything like the Alfa fender. And you could do that literally until the day you died, a million times or more. Doesn't matter. So you should learn how to work a panel out of arrangement, learn how to use a flexible shape pattern, learn how to use the English wheel, and you can make anything. Thanks for watching. It's Ray Chalene from Pro Shaper Workshop.